There's just so many questions and so much learning we had to do. So sitting here now, I know what it does for our brand. And so not being afraid of it is the biggest piece of advice I could give.
Welcome to Marketing with Empathy, the podcast for content marketers that want to connect with their audiences through brand storytelling and need help doing it better, along with the recognition, growth, and personal happiness that comes from creating great work. My name is Sarah Panus, and I've spent the last 20 years leading successful brand storytelling strategies that are fueled by empathy and data, helping generate millions in revenue, growing team budgets from 0 to 10 million, growing teams from 1 to 9 persons, removing silos for cross-functional sharing, and prioritizing storytelling initiatives within organizations. This podcast and the free Marketing with Empathy Facebook community is here to connect you with content marketers like yourself and give you a behind-the-scenes look at how other companies are doing it, giving you inspiration on actual strategies and tactics you can use to humanize your brand, connect with your audiences, improve brand storytelling results, and grow your professional skills. So we're coming up on 2-year anniversary of Marketing with Empathy, which is so exciting. And as I reflect on our amazing journey together, I'm happy to share that I have a lot more listeners today than when I started out. In the beginning, it was just my friends and family that were listening, which means you may have missed some really great episodes. So today, I'm resharing a previous episode from way back that you may have missed. It's just too valuable to skip because billion-dollar sleep wellness company Sleep Number is killing it with brand storytelling. And their VP of media, my former boss, Lisa Bailey, and I are going to give you a behind-the-scenes look of what it was like in the early days of growing Sleep Number's storytelling function. Because she and I grew Sleep Number's storytelling function together over 14 years. You're going to hear how can you track the results of your brand storytelling? How quickly or slowly should you test the waters? What would we do differently? Our advice may just be the thing you need to hear this week. Lisa Bailey is the VP of Media and Content at Sleep Number, where she's responsible for all online and offline media. She's got a lot under her team, including editorial brand storytelling, content, third-party marketing, third-party media, content partnerships, social, influencers, display, online video, radio, podcasts, DJs, and TV ads, right? It's a lot. Sleep Number, if you're not familiar, is a large sleep wellness retailer in the United States with more than 570 stores. An innovator in the sleep industry with their Sleep Number 360 smart beds that automatically measure key factors affecting your sleep quality. The beds automatically adjust to you using groundbreaking features and personal insights to help you continually improve your overall sleep health and wellness. And they also have amazing, innovative bedding products as well. Lisa and I know each other really well because she was my boss, as I mentioned, when I worked in-house at Sleep Number for 12 years, leading social influencers and editorial content marketing strategy. It was the job I had right before I started my current Kindred Speak consulting business. And then I continued to partner with Lisa and Sleep Number as I consulted with them on various editorial storytelling projects for a couple of years as well. And at the end of the episode, if you or your brand wants extra support so I can personally help you level up your own brand storytelling skills or plans, I'll share more about what you can do. But for now, let's hear from our sponsors and get right into the show.
Raise the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more to reach the professionals who are more likely to find your ad relevant. Plus, with 1 billion members on LinkedIn, that means you'll have access to 130 million decision makers and 10 million C-level executives. That's a lot of millions of the right people. Get started today and see how you can reach the right buyers with LinkedIn's enhanced targeting tools. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/MPN. linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
So let's set the scene first. It's current day. Sleep Number is thriving in a very competitive mattress market and doing amazing things with brand storytelling to engage your audience. Sleep Number is the official sleep and wellness partner of the NFL. It's a partnership that not only helps the players sleep and train better by sleeping on the product, but produces a bunch of content from that partnership. You've co-produced beautifully engaging video content and articles with third-party media partners, including Thrive Global, Katie Couric Media, and CNN's Courageous. You invest in influencer relationships and the content that stems from them and have a very robust social strategy. Your owner loyalty program has won a Best of award, and gosh, Sleep Number's won too many CES Innovation Awards to name. So that's just like a laundry list of like, this is a big brand doing really great and amazing things. And I know some of you listening to this right now are thinking, well, of course it's easy to invest in brand storytelling ideas with a portfolio lineup like that. That's amazing, but my brand isn't as interesting. Or you might be thinking we don't have that level of support yet. But it wasn't always like this. So guys, on the flip side, there's also people who've said, well, it's a mattress. How the heck do you make a mattress this engaging, right? So have you ever heard that saying, don't compare your middle to someone else's end? Sleep Number hasn't always had all of these content levers. It's taken time to get to this place, and the brand will undoubtedly keep growing and advancing their storytelling efforts. So Lisa, since we've both worked with Sleep Number for a combined 31 years between the two of us, crazy, I thought it would be fun to pretend we're in a Back to the Future movie and like hop in the DeLorean and go back in time to share some learnings of what it's taken to advance brand storytelling to where we are today. So first up, when it comes to using brand storytelling as part of your marketing mix, what advice do you wish you could have given yourself 10 years ago?
I think about not being afraid of it. I think 10 years ago is like, what is this thing? And how are we supposed to use it in our overall marketing mix? And how is it going to sell more beds? And how do I spend against it when I know it's not going to deliver a bed in any of our stores this weekend? There was just so many questions and so much learning we had to do. So sitting here now, I know what it does for our brand. And so not being afraid of it is the biggest piece of advice I could give.
Absolutely. I was thinking of that too. And for me, it was telling myself, this is going to drive top ROI for the brand. Like, don't give up. Keep sharing creative ideas, in this like engaging form of storytelling, because it is going to drive really strong results for the brand. My second question then is, tell us about a mistake you've made on this journey to get to today and what you've learned from it.
I think, again, the slow approach probably is the biggest mistake. You feel like you want the organization to catch up to your brand storytelling or how you want to tell your story as a brand. And it takes some time to figure out what that is. How do you tell a story, again, about a mattress brand? Well, by the way, the mattress brand added technology into what it can do for a consumer. And now it's, leaning into health and wellness. So it just was a slow approach. So how do you get quicker on that? How do you go ahead and lean into it? Find a way to tell the story with what you have today. And boy, that's going to evolve for sure. And that's what Sleep Number does. It reinvents itself all the time. But just if you can move with some cadence, I think that would be a good lesson that we learned, is that we moved a bit too slow with it.
Yeah. And you're saying move too slow. Talk about what helped make it more comfortable through the years to invest more in it.
Yeah, I think you have to prove everything out, how it is going to help drive long-term brand engagement, long-term brand love, and so we've been learning what that looks like. And I think one of the things too is don't be afraid to ask for help. And that's the one thing though I think we did well, is we started going out and asking for help. What does this look like? Help us build our skill set. We needed those external assets to help jumpstart us in the process.
Yeah. And my tip to add to that is don't look at one piece of content in isolation either. Think about it and talk about it internally in terms of like the whole content suite, because sometimes that can be where hookups can happen, right? Where you're thinking, well, every single piece, or just the worry that, well, this isn't branded enough and we're not talking enough about our product, or it's too much about our product, et cetera. And so I think about it in terms of that whole product content suite, because you need both kinds of content in your funnel. You need upper funnel content to attract and engage and pull in leads into your brand. And then you need more promo heavy content to convert those leads when the time is right. So thinking about it and talking about it as like what percent is the mix, I think was really helpful as we've evolved through the years too, and talk about that to help reduce that fear that every single piece of content needs to be really heavily branded, which isn't right at every stage in the funnel. Like, you need both.
Yeah, and you need to educate the organization.
Yes.
If you can remember, I mean, we were constantly, every time we had a piece of content, it was like, where's the brand? Where's the bed in that piece of content?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a constant, always struggle to educate. And I think, again, don't be afraid of that. That's what your role is to educate those that don't understand it.
Yeah. And I think back to 10 years ago when we were really having to educate and sell in and, just testing and learning. And that was a big piece. My younger self advice, I would have told myself, don't be afraid to push back more. Because I remember there was a couple pieces of content that I got pretty heavy feedback on, not from you, but from other internal approvers, to make it more branded. And I remember there was an infographic and tied to this article, and then there was a whole another video shoot we did. And we pushed back, but not hard enough in hindsight, because both those pieces of content never ended up performing well for us, because it just lacked the empathy filter and that connection to the audience. It just felt more self-serving. It felt more like a long form ad. And so that was the thing through the years too, is if you feel really strongly and what is that empathy filter. And for those of you who've been listening to the show now, I talk about this a lot, but thinking of what is that connection? Like, why is your audience going to care, and make sure that that comes across in your story. All right. So Lisa, tell us about a brand storytelling example that you're excited about.
Our Courageous series in partnership with one of our big media companies, Warner Media, and they've been doing these series for us for 3 years. And the first series that they did for us they're just incredible storytellers. And they did a series on this fish market. It's like, why is a fish market tied to a mattress company? And it wasn't about the fish market, although it was the oldest fish market, I think, in New York City. It was about the fact that these folks, if you think about it, are working crazy hours. They're either up, fishing at the crack of dawn, and then you go to the fish market and you get that all set up, and you're selling fish to the local restaurants, and then the restaurateur comes in and she's picking out the fish she wants for the dinner she's going to serve. And it's just about that piece about their crazy hours of sleeping. And so why is sleep important, and quality sleep is important? And there was just this thread that pulled it all through. It worked so well for us. That was kind of our introduction into longer format storytelling. And it brought in the bed because it talked about sleep, quality sleep. And so I loved that series. And we've done really great ones since, but that's been my favorite one because it was like so unique.
It's good inspiration for you guys listening too, of how you can have a multi-part series that builds on each other versus 3 separate videos that are not connected in any way. Kind of like a book where you have chapters and each chapter unfolds from the last. It's like that. Okay, Lisa, what about measurement? From a top line perspective, what type of impact are you seeing from your brand storytelling content?
We've been fortunate enough to have some really incredible tools. And, Sleep Number, again, is a really great brand because we own the end-to-end customer experience. So we can track the consumer in a way that a lot of retailers don't have the luxury of. And so we have tools that not only, for instance, look at our kind of overarching media investment and how we spend it, and is it against engagement levers versus traffic driving versus conversion levers. But we also have a digital tool, a multi-touch attribution tool that allows us to watch our digital investments, digital impressions, and how that flows through into a unit volume eventually. So it really does look at the multi-touch of where the consumer, how they saw our information first, and then how we kind of pulled them through the funnel. So we're lucky to have those type of tools because they are just so informative and help us really understand what type of content works. What's the next message we should serve up to make sure that they are interested in the Sleep Number bed and how the Sleep Number bed can help with proven quality sleep and health outcomes and things like that. So we've got these great tools that really help us tell that story in a way. And it also helps us, even if you think about, Sarah, you remember this back in the day when we first start with our with our media mix modeling, the top ROI driving media that we had at the time was social.
Mm-hmm.
And social was 100% engagement driving.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't lower funnel at the time. And it drove the highest level of our return on investment. And so we were able to prove that out. And again, educate the organization about that.
And then to follow up on that then, Lisa, like what advice do you have for other professionals listening right now who aren't sure if they should invest in upper funnel brand storytelling?
My best advice is I don't think a brand can advance without it. If you play in just the promotional side or, just the lower funnel piece of the business, while that pays the bills and it needs to be part of your overarching mix, if you want to advance your brand and advance it to a status of loved, you have to have the upper funnel content to help tell that story. And you have to have those longer formats to tell your story. And so I think over the years, because we've been able to look at the return on investment, I guarantee you there's a return on investment. If you even can't track it to that level, there is going to be a return on your investment. And it is the brand over time, which we talked about, Sarah. Remember we talked about brand over time versus brand overnight?
Yep.
And this brand over time is critical to keep advancing you as an organization. And again, tell your story in an authentic, relatable way is key.
Absolutely. And so I'll just explain. So brand over time versus brand overnight is another great way to talk about it internally with your teams, because brand over time is that more upper funnel, longer, lead time. But what it's doing is it's humanizing your brand. It's building trust. It's establishing your leadership position. It's doing all those things to attract your audience and get them in to want to listen and engage with you. And then brand overnight is like those up and down spikes, like those quick spurts of that's more your promo heavy, you're driving, you're asking for a call to action of some kind. But you need both, because if you never have the brand over time folks coming into your funnel, you're going to have fewer people that are seeing your big promo heavy pushes at the bottom. And just, I love how you said that, right? In terms of don't think a brand can survive without upper funnel brand storytelling, because I agree. It's just really is, just think of you as a person, right? Just people. There's only so much promotion you're going to hear from a brand. Even if it's your absolute most favorite brand on the planet that you absolutely love, if they keep sell to you, you're going to get sick of them. And so that's not long-term engagement. That's not advocacy with your client base. And so I echo and I love that you said that. Well, before we wrap up, is there anything else I should have asked you about, but I didn't?
Don't be afraid to fail on this. You're going to fail and you're going to learn and you're going to adjust. And I loved what you said earlier about having passion and being courageous about what you're trying to accomplish with your brand storytelling. You're going to get punched down and people aren't going to agree. But if you have passion around it and you believe in it, it will come through and it will work. I just know it will work. Just push forward and push on and be passionate about it.
Absolutely. And it is really hard trying to drive change or something new in your organization, or to advance and grow something that is maybe unknown in your organization, or not proven out, like we were talking about the journey through the years, but it's worth it. Like this works. And so that's why I'm so passionate about brand storytelling, because I've just seen how well it works. And it's just a very human way to interact, for a brand to interact with people. And that's a wrap. Lisa Bailey's encouragement is as motivating today as it was the first time we aired this episode. We heard how it took time for Sleep Number's storytelling function to mature into what it is today, but that Lisa wishes they had moved faster and weren't afraid to push into it earlier, since it drives noticeable ROI for the company. She recommends finding a way to tell your story with what you have today. Just get started. We heard how one video storytelling series got them comfortable with long-form video storytelling, and how they measure content using their tools and partners. And because of years and years of learning and measuring, Lisa knows storytelling content is driving an ROI for your company, even if you can't measure it. Don't be afraid to ask for outside storytelling help from others who can help you build your skill set faster. Push back more to help educate your organization on the difference between upper funnel and lower funnel conversion content, and use the brand over time versus brand overnight framework that Lisa and I mentioned to help convey these differences in your organization and show how they work together and not separately. And on the topic of sharing advice from years and years of experience, before we finish today's episode, I have a special bonus for you. How would you like to learn 3 ways to improve your content strategy this year? This will help you build stronger brand storytelling plans that connect with your audience and give you the recognition, growth, and personal satisfaction that comes from creating great work. I've recorded 3 quick videos walking you through 3 ways to improve your content strategy this year. Head over to kindredspeak.com/favorites, and I'll send you the 3 short videos unpacking things I've learned the last 20 years about how to humanize your brand, repurpose content, and create a group of allies to help grow and align brand storytelling inside your organization. A lot of this stuff is things that I've learned as Lisa and I were growing the storytelling function at Sleep Number. Get this 3 ways to improve your content strategy freebie by heading over to kindredspeak.com/favorites with an S. That's kindredspeak.com/favorites. And if you want more hands-on brand storytelling coaching from me, stick around to see if my 3-month Brand Storytelling Academy program is the professional development support you've been looking for. If you're hearing my voice right now, you're likely a brand content marketer and communications professional who wants to connect with their audience through storytelling and is looking for help to do it better, along with the recognition, growth, and personal happiness perks that come from creating great work. What would it feel like to have the skills, confidence, and know-how to advance your brand storytelling results and love the work you're doing? That's why I created the Brand Storytelling Academy, a hands-on 3-month group training program designed to help brand content marketers like you attract top funnel leads that drive bottom funnel results through editorial storytelling. For 1/6 of the cost to hire a person on your team or onboard a high-level brand storytelling strategist, you or up to 5 people on your team can be developing and accelerating your brand storytelling skills this year. Think of it like a college certification program for you and your team, but you get the knowledge a lot quicker, and your professor, me, has 20 years of hands-on experience guiding you along the way. Curious? I'd love to hear from you. Fill out the application at kindredspeak.com/apply to learn more, and I'll be in touch to answer all your questions and discuss if it's a good fit. That's kindredspeak.com/apply.
You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Hennika Watkins-Porter hosts The Entrepreneurial You, empowering entrepreneurs with insights on leadership, business, and success. Hennika, tell listeners what to expect from your show.
So we provide innovative business strategies and practical solutions to common entrepreneurial challenges.
And where can people subscribe?
Find us at hennikawatkinsporter.com, as well as the Marketing Podcast Network at marketingpodcasts.net, or search for it wherever you get your podcasts.
You heard her. Go subscribe.